Today we're going to be breaking down some bad habits that all quarterbacks have and then some coaching cues to fix those bad habits. Now how this video is going to go down is I'm going to explain a bad habit that quarterbacks have that lead to like a decrease in accuracy, maybe a decrease in arm strength, and then a coaching cue or phrase that you could think about while performing different drills, while throwing routes versus air that could help you fix these bad habits. And these are some of the most common bad habits that we see in quarterbacks every year. So the first one is a long stride. So a lot of quarterbacks get into a base, and when they throw it, this front foot takes forever to get down. Now, does that mean that you're not going to be able to get power? A little bit. So a lot of times guys will have this really wide base, they can't rotate from their hips, their legs lock out. But again, some guys generate power with the long stride because maybe they have a baseball background, but the problem with the long stride is that makes your release longer. To get a faster release, your front foot needs to get down fast. So what's a coaching cue that can help you stop having that long stride? So there are two things that I'll tell my quarterbacks. Number one, I tell them to step down. Like let's say the target is over here like this fence. I don't want to think of it like I'm stepping to the fence. I'm stepping towards the fence, but I'm stepping down. If I can step down, that chain reaction of the foot getting down will speed up the process of my hips, speed up the process of my weight transfer, and speed up my release. Now, another thing I'll tell quarterbacks, try to punch the grass with your toes. So like you're throwing a punch at the ground, try to think of your foot like you're punching the ground as quickly as I can with my toes to get that foot down to prevent that long stride. Now also fellas, if you're a quarterback and you maybe struggle knowing what to do on the field as far as drills go and what to do in the gym to help out you as a quarterback specifically, check out that very first link in the description below for our elite quarterback training package. What you'll get access to is 2 months of daily workouts in the gym and on the field for QBs. It's like Monday you're doing this, Tuesday this, we list it out all for you, and we give you the exact sets and reps to do and a video example of each drill and exercise. So guys, if you want some more information on that seems like something will interest you, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. Now the next common bad habit that we see in a lot of quarterbacks is a wild front elbow, which affects their release point, which can make them inaccurate. So a lot of old school quarterback coaches used to actually teach this. They would say, take your front elbow, so for a right-hander, that's your left elbow, and pull it down to your hip. They would say like elbow the midget, if you will. Like there's somebody short next to you and you're trying to elbow him. But that, and again, that might generate power, but the problem is when we throw, you want to think a lot about your spine. You want to pretend that your spine is not able to move. It's just completely straight and we're just rotating down that axis. But when you take this elbow and you pull this thing down, that angles your spine to the left. And you want to think of this like whenever you throw, you have strings attached to your hand. When your elbow comes down, your release point gets pushed up, and that's why so many quarterbacks miss high. So a good coaching cue that I'll tell a lot of quarterbacks that have that wild elbow problem is to think about eating a sandwich or singing out of a microphone with your front hand. So when you eat a sandwich, you're not down here. So that coaching cue, that phrase can help a lot of quarterbacks keep this front hand up by their face to keep their release point at an even spot. Again, you don't need a perfect 90-degree arm slot. You don't need to be perfectly high at 90. You definitely don't want to be low. A lot of guys like to teach that like sidearm type of throw. Cool, fine, whatever. At the end of the day, your release point's your release point, and there are many different release points on throws, but it has to be inside of your frame. It can't be outside of your body frame or outside of your body frame here. So think about eating the sandwich. Or when you're singing out of a microphone, you're not down here, you're singing out of a microphone here. So you keep it up by your face to keep that nice and level release point. Now this next bad habit that a lot of quarterbacks will have is getting their feet set from read to read. So let's say for example, I'm working like a curl flat concept on the left. Let's say my outside receiver's running a curl, slot receiver's running a flat. So my first read on that is going to be the outside linebacker. I'm looking at the outside backer. If he stays home, I throw the flat. If he crashes on the flat, I reset my feet and throw the curl. Now, there are times as quarterbacks, especially if you're more advanced, where you can make throws without your feet being set. They call that off-platform throws. Usually it's when you're getting pressure in the pocket, you can't set your feet, and you got to throw without your feet being set. This is not one of those situations, guys. You want to make things as easy as possible on yourself. If you could set your feet, set your feet. But a lot of quarterbacks will go from here, and then they see that curl come open, and they'll try to set their feet, but they never fully get there. So they'll throw, and their body's going this way, their arm exits their frame, and they miss inside, or they release it late, and they miss behind, because they're not getting themselves set to the target. So a great coaching cue that can help you get set is pretend on your throwing side foot. So for you righties, that's your right side. For you lefties, that's your left side. Pretend there is a laser beam. You see where this Adidas logo is here? Pretend there is a laser beam on that Adidas logo. I'm at the first read. I want to point that laser to where I want the ball to go, and that will help you get your feet set, your body set, so we can be more consistent and more accurate on my throws. Now, the next common bad habit that a lot of quarterbacks have is that they will push off of their back foot when their front front foot gets down or to create the front stride. So a lot of quarterbacks are here, they're trying to throw the ball at velocity, so they've been taught, hey, push off of this middle arch of your back foot like a pitcher in baseball. But guys, when you push, all of your body weight shifts to this front leg. So what you can't do is you can't delay your shoulders, guys. To throw and to throw with velocity, you got to use your hips, but your hips got to fire through before your shoulders and before the ball to create that rubber band whipping effect. So a lot of guys, because they push forward, their shoulders can't stay back. They throw and they're way out ahead of themselves like this. They push the ball so the ball has a sideways spin or spins up and down because they're pushing and their hip and leg is left behind. So what can you do to fix that habit? So there's two phrases that I'll tell my quarterbacks. They're in their base. I tell them to step, then drive. The stride is separate from the drive. So I tell them to step, but don't have any weight shift forward. You get the front foot down and then we transfer through. Then what I'll tell guys is pretend that you have a flashlight on your back hip and your back knee. And you were trying to take a step to the target, but keep your flashlights pointed to the sideline. So when you do that, that keeps some weight back so you could transfer drive after the foot gets down, creating that whipping effect, which will help you get more arm strength and velocity on your throws.